It's December 1942, somewhere over the dense jungles of Burma. A lone Japanese bomber pilot confidently navigates through what he believes is safe airspace, unaware that death itself is stalking him through the midnight sky. Suddenly, the darkness erupts in a blaze of cannon fire. 4 20mm Hispano cannons and 6 .303 machine guns unleash hell from an aircraft the pilot has never encountered before. This wasn't just another Allied fighter. This was the Bristol Beaufighter, a twin-engine Predator that would fundamentally alter how the Japanese Imperial Navy and Army Air Forces viewed aerial warfare in the Pacific theater. What started as British ingenuity born from desperate wartime needs would become Japan's most feared nocturnal nemesis. But here's what history books rarely tell you. The Japanese didn't just fear this aircraft. They studied it obsessively, respected it grudgingly, and ultimately developed entirely new tactics specifically to counter its devastating effectiveness. Captured intelligence reports, pilot testimonies, and strategic documents reveal a shocking truth about how profoundly the Beaufighter impacted Japanese military thinking. Tonight, we'll uncover classified Japanese assessments, explore secret tactical modifications, and reveal how one British aircraft single-handedly rewrote the rules of Pacific aerial combat. From the smoking ruins of Darwin to the treacherous skies over the Solomon Islands, this is the untold story of psychological warfare at 25,000 feet, where reputation became as deadly as ammunition and fear proved more powerful than any weapon system ever conceived. When Bristol Beaufighters first appeared in Pacific skies during early 1942, Japanese pilots encountered something completely outside their tactical playbook. Unlike the nimble single-engine fighters they'd mastered countering, this twin-engine behemoth defied every conventional classification they understood. Initial combat reports from Japanese squadron commanders revealed genuine confusion. Was this a heavy fighter? A light bomber? An experimental reconnaissance aircraft? The Beaufighter's unique profile, with its distinctive twin Bristol Hercules radial engines and robust fuselage, didn't match anything in their aircraft identification manuals. Commander Saburo Sakai, Japan's legendary ace pilot, documented his first encounter with a Beaufighter over New Guinea in his personal war diary. He described approaching what appeared to be an easy target, a lumbering twin-engine aircraft flying alone. Within seconds, his Zero was riddled with holes from the Beaufighter's devastating forward-firing armament. Sakai barely escaped, later writing that he'd never experienced such concentrated firepower from a single aircraft. Japanese intelligence officers quickly realized they faced an entirely new category of warplane. Unlike British fighters they'd previously encountered, the Beaufighter combined heavy firepower, robust construction, and surprising maneuverability for its size. Early tactical bulletins issued to Japanese squadrons warned pilots against treating these aircraft as conventional bombers or easy prey. The psychological impact began immediately. Veteran Japanese pilots, accustomed to air superiority, suddenly found themselves questioning fundamental assumptions about aerial combat. This wasn't just another enemy aircraft. It represented a paradigm shift that would force complete tactical reevaluation across all Japanese air services. Japanese technical intelligence teams worked frantically to understand the Beaufighter's capabilities after recovering wreckage from early engagements. What they discovered challenged every assumption about twin-engine fighter design and revealed engineering solutions they hadn't considered possible with 1940s technology. The aircraft's armament configuration particularly impressed Japanese analysts. 4 20mm Hispano Suiza cannons mounted in the lower fuselage, supplemented by 6 .303 Browning machine guns in the wings, delivered more concentrated firepower than entire squadrons of Japanese fighters combined. Technical reports noted the psychological advantage this created. Beaufighter pilots could engage multiple targets simultaneously while maintaining devastating effectiveness against individual aircraft. Japanese engineers marveled at the aircraft's structural integrity. Unlike their own lightweight designs optimized for maneuverability, the Beaufighter absorbed incredible battle damage while remaining airworthy. Captured maintenance manuals revealed redundant systems and robust construction techniques that Japanese designers had sacrificed for weight savings and speed. The twin Bristol Hercules engines particularly intrigued Japanese technical teams. These air-cooled radials provided exceptional reliability and power output, enabling the Beaufighter to maintain performance even after sustaining engine damage. Japanese liquid-cooled engines, while lighter, proved far more vulnerable to combat damage, a weakness the Beaufighter's design completely avoided. Most disturbing to Japanese planners was the aircraft's versatility. Intelligence reports documented Beaufighters successfully operating as night fighters, ground attack aircraft, anti-shipping platforms, and long-range escorts. This multi-role capability meant Japanese forces couldn't predict or counter specific tactical employment. The Beaufighter could appear anywhere, anytime, in any role. Secret Japanese technical assessments concluded that the Beaufighter represented a fundamentally different design philosophy, prioritizing survivability, firepower, and operational flexibility over pure performance metrics. This revelation would influence Japanese aircraft development for the remainder of the war. By mid-1943, Japanese combat reports painted an increasingly grim picture of Beaufighter encounters. Squadron after squadron reported devastating losses when these twin-engine hunters appeared during supposedly secure operations. The aircraft's impact transcended mere tactical victories. It fundamentally disrupted Japanese operational planning across the entire Pacific theater. Night operations proved particularly catastrophic for Japanese forces. The Beaufighter's AI radar capability, combined with its heavy armament and twin-engine reliability, made it virtually unstoppable during darkness. Japanese bombers, previously enjoying immunity during nocturnal missions, suddenly faced systematic destruction by aircraft they couldn't detect until cannon shells began tearing through their formations. Anti-shipping operations demonstrated the Beaufighter's most devastating capabilities. Armed with torpedoes or rockets, these aircraft systematically hunted Japanese supply convoys throughout the Southwest Pacific. Imperial Navy reports documented entire convoys annihilated by small formations of Beaufighters operating with surgical precision against previously secure shipping lanes. Japanese pilot testimonies reveal the psychological toll of repeated Beaufighter encounters. Unlike dogfighting single-engine opponents where skill and tactics mattered, engaging Beaufighters became exercises in survival. The aircraft's concentrated firepower meant any successful engagement typically resulted in immediate destruction. There were rarely second chances against these predators. Ground attack missions showcased another terrifying dimension of Beaufighter effectiveness. Japanese airfields, supply depots, and troop concentrations faced systematic destruction by aircraft that could simultaneously strafe targets while defending themselves against intercepting fighters. Traditional Japanese tactics proved useless against opponents that refused to conform to established aerial combat conventions. Most significantly, intelligence analysis revealed that single Beaufighter squadrons were disrupting operations across areas previously requiring entire fighter wings to patrol effectively. This force multiplication effect meant Japanese commanders could no longer predict where or when these aircraft might appear, creating operational paralysis that extended far beyond actual combat encounters. Perhaps the most profound impact of the Bristol Beaufighter wasn't measured in aircraft destroyed or missions completed. It was the systematic erosion of Japanese pilot morale and operational confidence. Secret Japanese military psychology reports document how encounters with these aircraft created lasting trauma that affected pilot performance long after individual combats ended. The phenomenon, Japanese commanders termed Beaufighter syndrome, appeared throughout Pacific air units by late 1943. Experienced pilots began exhibiting reluctance to engage twin-engine aircraft. even when tactical advantages clearly favored Japanese forces. This psychological hesitation proved as devastating as actual combat losses, effectively neutralizing Japanese numerical superiority through fear rather than firepower. Japanese training programs underwent radical modifications to address Beaufighter encounters. New tactical doctrines emphasized evasion over engagement when facing twin-engine opponents. Instructors noted that veteran pilots returning from Pacific assignments often warned trainees that certain aircraft types were essentially invulnerable. Advice that contradicted official doctrine, but reflected battlefield reality. Intelligence reports document Japanese attempts to counter Beaufighter psychological impact through propaganda. Official bulletins described successful attacks against British twin-engine fighters, while carefully avoiding specific aircraft types or detailed combat descriptions. These efforts largely failed because frontline pilots possessed first-hand knowledge contradicting official narratives. The aircraft's reputation began influencing Japanese strategic planning. Operations officers factored potential Beaufighter presence into mission planning, often canceling or modifying missions based solely on possibility of encounter. This created operational constraints that extended the aircraft's influence far beyond actual deployment areas. Most significantly, captured Japanese documents reveal that Beaufighter encounters fundamentally altered how Japanese aviation viewed aircraft design priorities. The emphasis shifted from pure performance toward survivability and firepower, directly influenced by recognition that British twin-engine design philosophy proved superior under actual combat conditions. The Bristol Beaufighter's impact on Japanese aviation thinking extended far beyond World War II's conclusion, fundamentally reshaping how an entire generation of military planners approached aircraft design and tactical employment. Post-war interviews with surviving Japanese commanders reveal that lessons learned from Beaufighter encounters directly influenced Japan's post-war aviation development philosophy. Secret Japanese technical reports, declassified decades later, document systematic analysis of Beaufighter design principles. Japanese engineers concluded that their pre-war emphasis on lightweight, maneuverable fighters, while tactically sound, proved strategically flawed when confronted with robust, heavily armed opponents capable of absorbing damage while delivering devastating counterattacks. The psychological legacy proved equally significant. Former Japanese pilots consistently ranked Beaufighter encounters among their most terrifying combat experiences, describing an aircraft that seemed to operate outside conventional aerial warfare rules. This reputation influenced post-war Japanese aviation culture, emphasizing multi-role capability and survivability over specialized performance characteristics. Perhaps most remarkably, classified Japanese military documents reveal that Beaufighter tactics and capabilities were studied extensively during development of Japan's post-war self-defense force aviation doctrine. The aircraft's combination of heavy firepower, operational flexibility, and psychological impact became a template for evaluating modern military aviation requirements. The Beaufighter's influence on Japanese tactical thinking created ripple effects throughout their entire military philosophy. Recognition that robust, versatile aircraft could achieve strategic objectives previously requiring large formations led to fundamental reassessment of force structure and operational planning methodologies. Today, aviation historians recognize the Bristol Beaufighter not merely as an effective wartime aircraft, but as a catalyst that forced one of the world's most aviation-minded nations to completely reconsider fundamental assumptions about aerial warfare. In Japanese military archives, it remains synonymous with the moment when technological innovation met tactical revolution, creating legends that continue echoing through aviation history.